Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and this is the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast, the music podcast on where I interview singers and musicians from genres of black music: gospel, jazz, blues, old school classic soul, old school hip hop, today's hip hop and R&B, Caribbean, Latin, Afrobeat, Afro-Latina, blue-eyed soul, disco, go-go, line dances, and the Lost 45s. So come with me as I take you on to a trip to the destination genre of black music right now on the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Legal Shield is a proud sponsor of the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Have you been involved in any types of accidents? Have you been a victim of identity theft? Have you been a victim of a computer fraud scam? Have you been in disputes with your tenants or landlords? If your loved one dies and they didn't write up a will for you or for your family, or you and your spouse are filing for divorce, or if you need help by opening up your small business, give Legal Shield a try. Visit their website at LegalShield.com and tell them you heard it here on the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Do it today. You'll be glad you did. Welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and I have a special guest on my show. And this lady that I'm about to introduce is from Oakland, California. She is a singer and songwriter, and she has a new album out called Seventh Sense. It's available right now, streaming on iTunes, and you can check it out. The video also available on YouTube. Now, her music was featured on Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and others. And the album is produced by Casey Phillips, the same producer who took care of Ciara and Chris Brown's hit song, How We Roll. So please help me welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Dam Jones. Hi, Miss Jones, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to my podcast. Glad to have you here. And I know Casey Phillips won't be able to be on, so it's just you and me, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so since you're new to the game, and even though we never heard your music before, worldwide or nationwide, so as always, America doesn't know who you are, the world doesn't know who you are. So I'm very delighted to have you here on my show. So let us begin, shall we? Now, as I mentioned in the intro, you're from Oakland, California. Is that the city where you're originally from?
Yes, I'm from Oakland, now based in Los Angeles.
Were your parents or any of your family relatives in the music industry, or did they had 9 to 5 day jobs?
Everybody had day jobs. We're a very musical family. My mom loves to sing, my sisters love to sing, but I'm the only one who pursued it professionally.
And which high school did you go to?
I went to Jesse Bethel High School in Vallejo, California.
Which college did you go to?
I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I'm currently getting my MBA from the University of San Francisco.
And what was your major in college?
In undergrad, I double majored in songwriting and music business.
Now, who did you want it to be when you grow up?
Well, when I was younger, I pretty much knew from young that I wanted to be a musician. I started writing songs when I was 9 years old. I loved listening to music and studying the greats, like Stevie Wonder, like Quincy Jones, and the like.
And how old were you when you started writing and singing songs?
Well, I started singing. I sung my first solo in church when I was 5 years old, and I wrote my first song when I was 9 years old.
Now, growing up, who were some of your favorite artists?
Some of my favorite artists growing up were Tevin Campbell. I loved Lauryn Hill. I loved Stevie Wonder, of course. I grew up listening to a ton of gospel music, so I love the Winans family, the Clark sisters, and of course the greats like Aretha, Nina Simone, Marvin Gaye, all the soul greats.
Was being a singer and songwriter your calling?
I believe so, yes.
And who were your musical influences that had inspired you to sing?
A lot of my musical influences were folks like Kelly Price, Missy Elliott. Folks look at her as a rapper, but she wrote a lot of songs for singers like Tweet. She even wrote for Karen Clark Sheard, who's one of the Clark sisters. Sarah Vaughan. I love jazz music, so Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald. And then the soul greats Shaka Khan, Whitney Houston, all of the greats that we all love to listen to.
Now, let's talk about your new LP, Seventh Sense, which is produced by Casey Phillips. Please share with our audience what your new album is all about.
So the forthcoming EP is called 2.0, and Seventh Sense is our first single on the larger project. Seventh Sense is kind of a reintroduction of me as an artist. I've been releasing music for many years, but this is a new sound and a new approach to the music. And I wanted to bring something back to R&B that shows that you can create an environment of warmness and softness without necessarily being raunchy. So that's really what I wanted to bring to audiences with this song.
Now, how would you describe your sound?
I would say that my sound is a modern interpretation of traditional soul. So all of those artists that I previously mentioned and talked about is bringing that into the modern day sense and using some of the technological advances and some of the sonic advances that we've made in music to put a modern application to it.
So, in other words, continuing the traditional richness of classic soul in the 60s and 70s and continuing that tradition for the next generation.
That's
Is
right.
that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Now, I got a chance to check out your song Seven Cents on YouTube, and I also checked it out on some of the other platforms. And let me tell you, you sung that song like in the low voice, like Sarah Vaughan. Tell our audience on what that song is about.
The song is really about, you know, how do you build love with another person? How do you build an environment of love with another person? And it really wants to get into the details. So the first line of the song says, "Watch your breath hit the candlelight and all the walls turn amber." And so we all know how that feels. Before a candle goes out, it gets brighter because you're blowing on it. And so it's just really about describing in detail the environment of love that you want to create with another.
Okay. And how many tracks have you written, or I should say EP? How many tracks have you written?
Well, the EP will have 5 full tracks and 3 interludes, but Casey and I have created over 100 songs together.
Whoa. I'm just trying to get used to this EP thing because me growing up, I'm used to the LPs, like albums where you
Yeah,
have like 12 tracks, six on side one, the other six on side two. That was back in the 60s and then the 70s. Most of them got like four tracks on side one, maybe four or five on the other one. And then if you have like a two LP set will be like either 14 or 18. That was me growing up back then, but I just got to get used to this EP. I'm just like, EP. I'll get used to it, when I see some stuff on YouTube and well as iTunes.
yeah, shorter attention spans, so shorter projects. That's kind of what the marketplace is doing now.
Mhm.
Now, as I mentioned in the intro, most of your music was featured on movies and TV shows on Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and others. What were some of the movies and TV shows that some of your music had appeared on?
My music has been featured in season two, I believe, of Hulu's Unprisoned, season two of Netflix Survival of the Thickest. Those are a couple examples. Also, Young Love on HBO Max. So those are a few different shows that my music's been featured on.
Mhm. And how did you team up with producer Casey Phillips, who took care of your EP?
Casey and I met at a Grammy event for emerging songwriters, and we both really liked the music that we brought to the event. And so we just exchanged information, and a few months later, we're able to do our first session together. And we really both agreed that there was something there. So it was off to the races from there. And, working really fast together, we had 10 songs in 2 weeks. So that's how we've gotten to this place of having over 100 songs.
Mm. Now, if Casey was here on this episode, I would ask him what was it like working with you, as well as some of the artists that I've just mentioned in the intro. He worked with Sierra and Chris for their duet song "How We Roll," and I got a chance to check it out on YouTube. And it was like producing, those two and producing you, and I was like, oh, okay. And like I said earlier, I got a chance to check out your song, and as I mentioned, you have that singing low voice, and I was like, oh, okay. It should be interesting. I can interview this singer. Okay, I can check it out. I can roll.
Yeah, the low voice comes from growing up in church. Growing up in church, we had to learn how to sing soprano, alto, and tenor. So I have a wide range because I grew up singing all ranges in church.
Mm. Now, speaking of church, which I didn't put a question on here, were you singing in a church choir? And if so, what church did you belong to back then?
When I we belong to a few different churches. The main church that I went to as a child was Progressive Church of God in Christ, with Pastor William Ephraim, and he's the first person to allow me to sing the songs that I wrote in Sunday service. So he gave me that first opportunity to perform my own music in church, but I was a part of the church choir as well.
Okay. As I said, many of our favorite artists, including Aretha and Stevie and Al Green and Teddy Pendergrass, they've all started in the church. So that is the foundation where they get their inspiration from and went on to superstardom. And some of the artists haven't forgotten where they came from. Most of them, they did a couple of message songs and everything. So they all got their foundation where they started from the church. And just like you never left. So like you started in the foundation and just went on to superstardom, independent superstardom, that is. Now, here's a question I always ask my guests: living or dead, which artist you wish you wanted to meet or to perform with?
I would have loved to meet and perform with Isaac Hayes. I think he's one of the greatest soul artists and also a film composer. Those who know that he composed the entire soundtrack for the Shaft movie. And so he was just a really great all around musician, and I would have loved to have an opportunity to work with and perform with him.
Because I saw in the bio that your influence was the late Isaac Hayes. Because the Isaac Hayes that I knew when I was staying at my maternal grandparents' apartment on East 168th Street in the Bronx, my late maternal grandfather had that LP called the Isaac Hayes Movement. And then I see it was like 4 songs too long. And I looked on the album cover and I said to myself, is Isaac Hayes swirling in a bowl of cream of wheat? That's on the that's on the front album cover. And then I looked at the back album cover and I see, is he blind or like cross-eyed? And he was wearing that black and white striped suit and
Right.
everything. And then when I opened up the album cover, it's like, oh, Shades and Chains. So now I see that's just his trademark. When he's singing, it was his Shades and Chains. And when he's acting, he doesn't wear that. So when I was just listening to the album, he was doing remakes. He was doing a remake of Jerry Butler's I Stand Accused. Also, he did a remake of The Beatles, Something. And he also did some other tracks on there. And when I was just listening to it, I was like, enough with the talking, get with the singing. And that's why I got introduced to that egoistic raps, either they rapping or talking. And the song I Stand Accused, 11 minutes and 40 seconds. I listened to the album version, and then when they put it out on the 45, they just did the singing. So I got a chance to listen to both of them. One, the 4 minute version, I have it downloaded on iTunes, and I listened to the other one on YouTube. So it was like, okay, he's telling a story. The same thing with his other album, Hot Buttered Soul. When I see the album cover with his bald head and the Shades and Chains again, he did the remake of Dionne Warwick's Walk On By and also Glenn Campbell's By the Time I Get to Phoenix. So he's best known for taking that song, he would strip it and stretched it as far as wide as the eye can see. He would take a 3 minute song and just stretched it to either 12 minutes or 18 minutes. So, like for example, Glenn Campbell's By the Time I Get to Phoenix, he was telling a story
Right.
behind it. So I was like, he was talking about the power of love and then segue into the song By the Time I Get to Phoenix. So I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm getting to learn on what that song was all about because I got exposed to it. So every time I listen to Isaac Hayes, and you mentioned the Shaft soundtrack LP, and I got my late mom's LP as well. And even though we didn't see the movie Shaft because the movie was rated R, and then when I saw the promo, because I got the DVD and they had the trailer, and it said Shaft rated R for strong violence, sexual content, and violence. If you want to see this movie, ask your mama. So, back then, we wanted to see all our black movies, but if the movie was kind of like a little violent or sexual scenes rated R, they say, sorry, but you can't see the movie. You just wait till it gets on TV, and they had to edit out that stuff.
Right. Right.
So I got a chance to see everything. The Isaac Hayes that I knew, he was singing and acting, and you mentioned composer and everything. So yes, rest in peace to Black Moses, Isaac Hayes. And one more thing, he not only he acted in movies, but he appeared on TV. He appeared in episodes of The Rockford Files on NBC and The A Team also on NBC. And he appeared on an episode of South Park on Comedy Central, the cartoon show.
That's right.
They
He
had
played
those
the
four.
chef.
Yep, that's the show. They had those 4 potty mouth kids, and he would play the voice of Chef. And later, he was doing the radio DJ personality for 98.7 Kiss FM here in the NYC. So when Kiss FM changed the format, the classic soul and today's R&B, you had Isaac Hayes in the morning and everything. So rest in peace to the Black Moses, Isaac Hayes. Now, here on the Black Soul Music Experience podcast, I always ask my guests who are the top 10 R&B artists of all time. Now, since I have you, Miss Jones, I will be doing the Black Soul Music Experience top 10 classic soul and today's R&B artists of all time. Now, here's how it works. We do it like a top 10 countdown, like the show, America's Top 10, hosted by the late Casey Kasem. We started at the bottom five. We figured out who was the best singer that had a few hits, but didn't get any recognition. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, the record label, what they were on, didn't get either marketed or promoted enough. When we
Right.
get to the top five, we will find out who was the best artist of all time. Did that artist have sold over 1 million selling records? Did that artist receive some top 10 number one hits? Did that artist had an album that was gold or platinum or double platinum or triple platinum? In today's diamond platinum that sold over copies in print? Did that artist receive a Grammy or an American Music Award or a Soul Train Award or an MTV VMA Award or a BET Award? Or did that artist got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Or did that artist performed on American Bandstand or Soul Train or The Midnight Special or NBC's Saturday Night Live or Solid Gold? Or they appeared in any music videos that was aired either on BET or MTV or VH1 or some of the local shows syndicated across the country? Or did they had their prime time special aired on CBS or NBC or ABC? Or did they had that special on PBS, whether it's great performances or just a special airing during Pledge Month? Or did they had that live concert special aired on HBO or Showtime? So, Miss Jones, are you ready to take the challenge?
I am.
Okay, so we'll start at the bottom and we'll work our way to the top. Who should be at number 10?
I would put an artist named Amel Larue at number 10.
Amel Larue. I knew that lady when she was in that duo group called Groove Theory
That's right.
when she made her debut back in 1995 with that song, Tell Me If You Want Me To. And at first, I thought she almost sounded like Mariah Carey. But when I saw the music video, I was like, oh, that's Amel Larue. And only just two people, just Amel and Bryce Wilson, who's also the producer. So she had a couple of songs in the later 90s, but didn't get that much oomph, didn't get it promoted or any marketing or anything like that. So we'll put Amel Larue at number 10. Who should be at number 9?
At number 9, I want to put a duo actually called Rough Ends.
Rough Ends. We haven't heard from them in a while, so they're known for its hip hop and R&B flavor. So they were back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So we'll put Rough Ends at number 9. Who should be at number 8?
At number 8, I'll put a group called Playa.
Hmm. Okay, Player. I'm thinking about that other group back in the late 70s. There was a Blue Eyed Soul group, Player. They were one the same, Baby Come Back.
Right.
And,
The group that I'm
okay.
referring to is a group that was in the same circle as Missy and Timbaland. They had a great songwriter named Static Major in the group. He wrote a lot of songs on Aaliyah's later albums, and they had one album called "Cheers to You," and I just thought it was a fantastic album. Really beautiful music. Three young men that never really got a chance to really shine in R&B, but I love that album. I've bought that album multiple times, just
Mm,
because I love it so much. So I would have loved to have been able to see them do more.
okay, so we'll put them at number 8. Who should be at number 7?
At number 7, I'm going to put Kelly Price.
Yes, Kelly Price made her debut back in 1998. Before she went on to stardom, she was a backup singer for Miss Mariah Carey. And when she made her breakthrough in 1998, she had her debut song called She Was a Friend of Mine.
That's right.
Now, they played two versions of it. They played the slow jam version, and then they played the second version where they had Ronald Isley, aka Mr. Biggs,
Right.
in the music video. So I was looking at the one that had Ronald Isley in the car. I was like, oh, he was in that video. Oh, okay. So, and so I just gotta, I just can't get enough of that music video. So we get to that phone. So just call him up. And it's
Right.
like, you hear the voice say, who's this? This is Mr. Biggs. How you doing, Mr. Biggs? What the world is going on? What do you mean what's going on? Kelly's telling me that you're sleeping with another woman. I just couldn't get enough of that second version.
Right.
And Kelly had some other songs as well. She did the remake of Shirley Murdoch's As We Lay, and
That's
her
right.
other songs. She said, You should have told me I wasn't strong enough. So we'll put Kelly Price there. She just juggled around. She did some today's R&B. She did a couple of gospel tunes here and there. So we'll put Kelly Price at number 7. Who should be at number 6?
At number 6, I'm going to put Jeanne.
Jeanne. Is that the two sisters, the group Jeanne?
Yes.
Yes, already. That's the Jeanne with a Z, Hane, which is pronounced Jeanne. And every
Yes.
time when I look at that LP, their debut LP back in January 1994, I see the album that says with a Z, Hane, and it said the name is called pronounced Jeanne. So they came on the scene back in 1993, discovered by Queen Latifah. They had that song called Hey Mr. DJ, you can get this started. Everybody's ready to party all night, all night. All the girls are ready. Yep, that was the one that I liked. When they
Yeah.
first played it on that Friday night afterward party, I was like, Ruben. And then the other follow-up song, well, it's a groove thing. It's
Right.
got a funky swing. Well, it's a groove thing, a groove thing. We're moving on, keeping strong. Don't you let this figure on. It's a groove thing. Love that song too.
Great song.
So that was the best album that came out in January 1994. I mentioned Hey Mr. DJ, Groove Thing, and the other one I like was Sending My Love
Right.
to Ya. Yep, that's the ones that I like. And the other one, Listen to the Vibe, Listen to the Vibe, You Just Getting Wide. Those are the songs that I like and everything. So we'll put Jeanne at number 6. And that's sisters Jean Norris and Renee Neufeld. All right, who should be at number 5?
At number 5, I'm going to put D'Angelo.
Ah, yes, D'Angelo came on the scene back in 1996 with the LP and the song called Brown Sugar. When I first saw this neo soul artist in the music video on that Hammond organ in the club and everything, I was like, oh, bringing neo soul to the mix in the mid 90s. And other songs he did the remake of Smokey Robinson's Cruisin'. But the other music video that everybody just seemed to can't get enough is that music video when he was fully naked. And
Yeah.
that song called How Does That Feel? And that was like a million selling LP and song ever. So wow. So that was the birth of Neo Soul. So rest in peace to D'Angelo at number 5. All right, who should be at number 4?
At number 4, I'm going to put Luther Vandross.
The one and only Luther Vandross representing the Boogie Down Bronx, New York, and the Lower East Side of Harlem. Luther Vandross came on the scene back in the mid 70s. He was a backup singer for the late David Bowie, and he'll be best remembered for doing those commercial jingles. But the other one that I didn't know when I was watching episodes of Sesame Street on YouTube, he was in some group troupe and they were singing a song called Count to 20. And then when I saw Luther, I was like, that's Luther? Slim Luther back then? I didn't know that was him. So while I'm watching all the clips on YouTube of Sesame Street, I said, oh, that's Luther. Oh, okay. That's the one that I didn't know. The
Yeah.
only Luther that I knew that he was doing commercial jingles for all the commercial products. And then his breakthrough in 1980 with the group Change. He had songs including Searching, Searching for So Long. And the other one, The Glow of Love. And then by 1981, breakthrough with his song Never Too Much, Never Too Much from his solo LP. He had songs including Never Too Much, his remake of Dionne Warwick's A House Is Not a Home, and the other song, Don't You Know That? And that song was later sampled from Heavy D and the Boys. And his second album, For Always, Forever, For Love, that include the song Bad Boy, Having a
Hmm.
Party, and that song was later used in the movie House Party that starred Kid and Play. And all of his other hits during the 80s, he had some other songs, including There's Nothing Better Than Love with the late Gregory Hines, and the song Give Me the Reason from the 1986 movie Ruthless People. He was known for doing other hits, and also he did a remake of Major Harris' Love Won't Let Me Wait. But every time he'll be on the stage, he's known for his trademark. Woo! Well,
That's
that
right.
was all of his hits and everything. And his final song was called Dance with My Father, again from his last LP. So rest in peace to the one and only Luther Vandross at number 4. All right, who should be at number 3?
At number 3, I'm going to put Brandy.
Ah, yes, Brandy. We all know her as Brandy Norwood, singer and actress. She made her debut back in the fall of 1993 on a situation comedy called Thea, aired on ABC, starring comedian Thea Vidal. And she done her acting chops real good. But then a year later, 1994, I was just coming home and we was watching BET's Video Soul, and we saw a music video, and I was like, "That's Brandy, singer." And she made her debut singing "I Wanna Be Down for What You're Going Through. I wanna be down. I wanna be down with you." I was like, I was blown away. I would never knew that Brandy would sing. And she had her debut LP, Brandy, released on the Atlantic label back in the fall of 1994. She had hits including I Wanna Be Down. They had the original version, and then they had the remix, which
That's right.
had Queen Latifah and Yo Yo and MC Light. And other hits including Baby and the other one Broken Hearted with a special guest Wanya Morris from Boys to Men. And she had other albums including Never Say Never, which include the song The Boy Is Mine with a duet from Brandy. I mean, excuse me, not Brandy, Monica Mustang.
Right.
Monica. And she had some other TV hits, including Moesha, which was aired on UPN. Now the CW was on for 5 seasons. And she made her motion picture debut called I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which starred Jennifer Love Hewitt. And she kept on going. She was singing, acting, and everything. She won a Grammy Award. She won an American Music Award. She's a mother of one daughter, and she's still looking good and still performing. with the Boy Is Mine tour with Miss Thang,
That's
Monica.
right.
So we'll put Brandy at number two. Excuse me, Brandy at number three. All right, we're up to number two.
Number two, I'm going to choose Miss Lauren Hill.
Miss Lauren Hill, representing New Jersey. She became a member of the Fugees when they made their debut back in 1993. But before that, Lauren Hill, that we didn't know, she was an actress. And I was watching VH1s before they were stars. And then when I saw a glimpse of Lauren Hill, I said, Lauren Hill? An actress? And she made her debut on As the World Turns, aired on CBS Daytime. And I was like, Lauren Hill on a soap opera? And I've seen her in that part. And she was like, her character was like saying, what? Ugh, you people. So then I think one of the actresses, the late Helen Wagner, had that boombox and started rapping. So then, well, we never knew that Lauren Hill was started out in daytime and then later started in the movie Sister Act 2. And she was singing, and it had Whoopi Goldberg, and it had an all-star cast that had Jennifer Love Hewitt and Yo-Yo, Tanya Blunt, and Cheryl Lee Ralph, just to name a few, and became a member of the Fugees with Wyclef and Pras. They had their debut hit called Nappy Heads, and by their second album, a million seller, The Score, which had the song Ooh La La La, doing a sampling of Tina Marie's song. And then they got the remake of Killing Me Softly, remake of the late Roberta Flack's classic. I would never knew that Lauren Hill would be singing, and that sold over a million copies in print. When she went on her own, 1998, her first solo LP, The Miseducation of Lauren Hill, which sold over a million copies in print. She has won 5 Grammy Awards, Best New Artist, Best New Album. I would never knew that Lauren Hill can rap and sing. And, Lauren, if you're out there, we miss you. We love your singing and rapping and everything. So we'll put Lauren Hill at number 2. All right, who should be at number 1?
I mean, in my opinion, greatest of all time, Stevie Wonder.
Yes, the one and only Stevie Wonder made his debut back in 1963 with a song called Fingertips. He played everything. He played the bongos, he played the drums, he played the piano and organ and everything. He had a string of hits. He was with Motown from 1963 up until the 2000s. He had hits back to back, including Uptight, My Sharia Moore, For Once in My Life, Signed, Sealed, Deliberate, his version of the Beatles' We Can Work It Out, his version of Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind.
Right.
Almost forgot about that. And when he got into the 70s, he was picking up where Marvin Gaye left off. He was doing songs with a social message. He had a song, Living for the City, from his LP Inner Visions, that's dealing with systematic racism, and his other song, Too High, although that song wasn't a hit, but it dealt with drug addiction. He had his other LP, Fulfilling His First Finale. He had a song called You Haven't Done Nothing, number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts, and he had his song called Creepin'. I would never knew that Stevie Wonder did that song. I only thought Luther Vandross did the version, but I would never knew that Stevie Wonder had his original song from that album. He had other albums, including Songs in the Key of Life, Journeys to the Secret Life of Plants, and then he got his other LP, Hotter Than July, with that song, Happy Birthday. We all know it, a song in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he dedicated that in loving memory of Dr. King. Not only he was a singer and songwriter and producer, but he was also an activist in making Dr. King Day a national holiday. He have teamed up with Harry Belafonte in protesting apartheid in South Africa. He participated with Dionne Warwick and Elton John and Gladys Knight for their song That's What Friends Are For, raised millions of dollars for AIDS research. He participated in USA for Africa, We Are the World, #1 on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop and R&B Black charts. Proceeds went for USA for Africa famine relief. He has won so many accolades: a Grammy Award, an American Music Award, an Oscar for the song I Just Call to Say I Love You from the movie The Woman in Red, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee for the class of 1989, and a Kennedy Center honoree for the class of 1999. Stevie had done it all, and not only that, he appeared on an episode of Sesame Street on PBS and on an episode of The Cosby Show on NBC. So Stevie had done it all. So we'll put Stevie Wonder, Genius, the Wonder Man, at #1. So there we have our Black Soul Music Experience Top 10 Classic Soul in today's R&B artists of all time. Well, Dom, thank you so much for being here on the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and continued success on this album, 7 Cents. And any more projects that is coming up, you're welcome to come on back.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here, and much success on the Black Soul Music Experience.
You're welcome. And speaking of that, I'm subscribed to your channel as well. Now, where can we follow you on social media?
On social media, I am Dom Jones on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. The handle is I am Dom Jones on everything.
Okay. Download all the artists that we have talked about on this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Visit iTunes.com, Spotify.com, or purchase a CD at Amazon.com. And make sure you follow Miss Dom Jones and follow her on Instagram at I am Dom Jones, and also on TikTok. And you can check out all of her music videos, including the new one, 7 Cents. Check it out right now on YouTube, and download her song, 7 Cents, available right now on iTunes. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check out this episode, please subscribe to the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Look for me on these 5 platforms. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast. And the link is riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s. Don't forget to add the S to the end, -studio. And I will be posting this episode on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you have a hard time getting on to riverside.fm, then please become a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. All you need to do is put in your email address and your password, and then you get to the Patreon homepage, where you see all of the Patreon shows done by different creators. Go to the search box top and type in the Black Soul Music Experience podcast, where you can check out all of my audio and video podcast episodes and video podcast clips that you may have missed. And if you have a hard time getting on to Patreon, then I will be posting this episode on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. If you like this episode, if you love my podcast, please subscribe, please support, please give me a thumbs up, please leave a comment, and please pass it on. Thank you for joining me as I close out this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience.
Well, that's about it for this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. I'm Sam Wilson Jr. Thank you for joining me, and please tune in next week for an all-new episode. The Black Soul Music Experience podcast is sponsored by the support of listeners and viewers like you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Look for my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Pocket Cast. And don't forget the link. The link is riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s-studio. And don't forget to check out my audio and video podcast episodes by becoming a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And please check out my video podcast episodes by subscribing to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And please leave your comments, feedbacks, and replies by going to my Facebook homepage. Go to facebook.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. You can also tweet me on X, aka Twitter, at Sam Wilson Jr. 66, and follow me on Instagram at SAMM.Y2980. As always, partying, remember this: reach for the top and your dreams will come true, and it can happen to you. From all of us, take care. God bless. Thanks for listening. Have a good week, and please be safe.